You know, talking once again about, the Curse of the 13th Ghost movie, which was supposed to be the finale, the closure for 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, I stick by what I said in that video. And we watching some of the other reviews out there, by people like Toon Grin, Nerd Sloth, Rob the Wonderful. I think everybody would, those people in general, as well as others that have talked about this, would pretty much agree that, had they gone the way I suggested in the previous video, that the movie probably would have been more widely accepted and given a more positive, review or overview by those people. But I think when you look at something like The Curse of the 13th Ghost, that right there, in my opinion, should be, an example of basically if you're going to adapt, or you not adapt, but if you're going to do a movie, you're going to provide some closure, if you will, to a series that has, long been, shelved, if you will. If you're going to put closure to it in some way, that you need to keep true to what it is. You can't basically, you can't, create, open-endedness, if you will, or you can't create impliedness or interpretationness, if you will. You can't do that. If you're going to do a movie or even a special, based on a show, within a franchise, but you're going to use that movie or that special to be like its closure, then you need to, like I said, keep true to what it is. You can't do what they did with The Curse of the 13th Ghost. You can't do that. It would be like basically, if, Wild Brain, talked to Sega and said, hey, we want to do a Sonic Sat-AM movie which brings proper closure to the series because it didn't get a third season, and we want to use the movie to do the third season. And when they did the third season, it basically took a lot of what we had beforehand, from season 1 and 2, took certain moments and threw them out or rearranged them to where it's like, wait a minute, that didn't happen, the way they're describing it, because we saw it happen another way, or whatever the case may be. You can't basically, like I said, you can't do a movie like that without staying true to what the original source material was, staying true to the original continuity. And like I said in the previous video, I understand that, this movie takes place, basically in the hybrid continuity of What's New Scooby-Doo and Mystery Incorporated. I get that. I can accept that. Heck, I can even accept something that, Y-Boy said in his Toon Grin review of the movie last year or 2 years ago, and that is the fact that, that 13 Goes to Scooby-Doo, as perceived by its sequel here, could be looked at as a prequel to all the Scooby-Doo franchise shows that came afterwards. Like, it could serve as a prequel to Where Are You? It could serve as a prequel to Scooby-Doo show. It could serve as a prequel to Mystery Incorporated. It could serve as a prequel to What's New. All that. That basically, I can accept what Y-Boy is saying. That I can, that 13 Ghosts could be the origin, like the be-all, the be-all, begin-all, if you will, of the Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated franchise. I can understand that, just the way they try to play that off. But, in reality, accept that or not, you can't do a movie based on something like 13 Ghosts and, present it in a way that they did. I mean, again, I'm not denying any of the good stuff that was in there. It's just the way it kind of went downhill at the end. It's like, you didn't have to go that route. You could have kept it true to what it was, true to this, to the source material that it was based on. And again, the thing is, movies, 1 hour specials, whatever the case may be, that are supposed to serve as proper closure to a long-standing series, animated or live action, that are part of an ongoing franchise, or whatever, or a new franchise, or whatever the case may be. And people pretty much know, basically what that original is, that series, within that franchise was like, and what it consisted of. And that was just my dog. She just woke up right now. She's got allergies. She's fine. She's fine. She's got allergies. She's fine. But like I said, you can't, people will know what that series is like and what it was involved in it. And when they hear that a movie or a 1 hour special is going to serve as its closure after it's been off the air for, so many years, they expect it, to be, the same way as it was originally last seen, or as they originally last saw it. They don't expect it to, be something that, as I said earlier, leaves things open-ended, leaves things to be interpreted or implied, because that's not how you do it. And 13 Goes to Scooby-Doo is that kind of a series, to where if you're going to do a movie finale on it, a closure movie for it, that you need to make sure it stays true to the original source material all the way through, from beginning to end. You can't just throw in all this last minute, it was because of this and that and everything. You can't do that and then decide, hey, we're still going to leave it open-ended for you guys to speculate, when you have the characters themselves in the movie. Even Fred, who wasn't even part of the show originally, basically telling Velma, oh no, you don't want to open that chest, no way. It's like you can't do that. You got to keep it true to what it is. If there's one complaint that I can kind of understand and sympathize with when fans do it, is the fact that when you have something based on something beforehand, you expect it to be true to the source material, in some shape, form, or fashion, in every which way possible, or you believe it could be. You don't walk into something based on something that should be one way, and then you start seeing it be another. It doesn't work out that way. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't work that way, if you know what I mean. So to me, when I look at the fact that you take a movie, like I said, based on a franchise that's been off the air for so many years, 3 decades, if you will, 3.5 decades, if you will, 35 years, mind you, that when you plan to do an adaptation of that, a finale for that, especially in movie format, fans that grew up on that series, fans that are getting to know that series, they expect the movie to be exactly what the series is. Like I said, they did it with Sonic. They would expect that movie that would basically serve as the finale, or what the 3rd season would be like. They would expect it to be just like what season 1 and 2, mostly season 2. They would expect that. If they decided, hey, let's say Disney, I should say, decided, hey, let's do an animated movie finale and bring closure to Bonkers, they would expect, that movie finale for Bonkers to be as what they saw in the show. Mostly if it's, based in the Miranda Wright kind of style, or a mixture of the Miranda Wright Lucky style, like a New Partners on the Block. They would expect, that. They wouldn't expect something to be, totally different. They wouldn't expect something to be, done in a way to where it's like, well, we know this happened, but they're saying this happened. People expect it to be true to what it is, or what it originally was based on. They don't expect anything else, which is why a lot of people do complain when, if let's say a movie is based on a comic book, that movie is not true to what the comic book originally was. especially if it's based on a certain story. I mean, why do you think fans complain and get angry every time, Marvel through, 20th Century Studios, when they were 20th Century Fox, why do you think they always get upset that, any attempt at a Phoenix movie, that basically is a Phoenix X-Men movie, I should say. Why do you think they get upset when they notice that it's not true to the original source material? Because it's not, and they expect it to be. I mean, they'll gladly get in the Phoenix Saga, or some kind of interpretation of it, but when it doesn't stay true to what it is as they first originally saw in the comics, or even what they saw get adapted in the 90s cartoon show, of course it's going to get a lot of anger. It's going to get a lot of negativity thrown its way. And, that's why, anytime, word gets out that one of the future, like Marvel movies, let's say in the MCU down the line, is going to be based on the Phoenix Saga, and let's not kid ourselves, that is going to happen in the future, probably near future, sooner than we think. We just got to get the word from Kevin Feige, that is. But why do you think when that probably gets announced, that even with Feige behind it, they still might be skeptical, because for some odd reason, it's one of the harder MCU stories to adapt, or at least loosely adapt and base a movie on. You kind of get what I'm saying? You kind of get what I'm saying? Basically, in the end, if you're going to adapt, or if you're going to do a movie you're going to do a movie that's going to be, an adaptation, or is going to be utilized as an adaptation of something, of a well-known franchise and story, to, bring it to the big screen, or bring it closure, if you will. Fans expect that in the end, fans expect it to be a certain way. They don't expect it to be, this way and, this way or that way. They expect it to be a certain way. They expect it to be done a certain way. And like I said in the previous video, had they decided, hey, let's just focus on Daphne, Shaggy, and Scooby, and Flim Flam, and Vincent, and let's do the travel shenanigan deal with Fred and Velma, trying to follow them to see what's going on, that would have worked, because most of the story would be based and focused on the group that 13 Ghosts was based and focused on originally. You see what I'm saying? So to me, if you're going to do a movie, and you're going to use that movie to adapt a well-known story, from a well-known franchise, or you're going to use that movie to bring closure to a well-known franchise, or at least a series within that franchise. And same with adaptation, that fans expect it to be done in a way they know it should be done, or they expect it to be done. The one reason that the MCU is being successful with a lot of its movies is because when they adapt and bring these characters to the big screen, 80% of the time, or 75 to 80% of the time, they get it right. They get it right with these stories. From Iron Man to Guardians of the Galaxy to, Captain Marvel, they get it right. Yeah, they might have a few freelance moments here and there, a few freelance adaptation moments here and there, but most of the time they get it right. WandaVision, they got that right, that helps lead us into multiverse of madness. Loki, they're getting right. Falcon and Winter Soldier, they got right. They understand that fans are going to expect to see these characters adapted and brought to life correctly, and the stories, that would probably be adapted along with them, to be done in a way that it feels like the comic book itself, the story within the pages of the comic book, is coming straight to life, on the big screen in front of you, or on the small screen in front of you. They know fans expect that, which is why when I look at something, like, Warner Brothers and the Hanna-Barbera division, Warner Animation division, adapting the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo as a movie closure finale called The Curse of the 13 Ghosts, and doing it the way they did, it just, again, it's an example of, it looks like it starts out good, and it did, and there are moments in there that are great, but then in the end it goes downhill and becomes something that basically takes that closure that you were originally scheduled it to have and throws it out the window. And you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to do that whatsoever. So to me, if I'm, and I said this before in a video and I'll say it again, if I'm Warner Brothers, and I'm in charge of Warner Animation, and I'm the person in charge of Scooby-Doo movies, bringing those to direct-to-video and streaming, if I'm that person, I go and I make the decision to redo so the 13 Goes to Scooby-Doo. I make the decision that not only am I going to redo it, but I'm going to do it in a way that gives proper tribute and closure to the original series that it's based on. That's what I would do. I wouldn't, I would take basically, and what I would do is I would take the previous adaptation closure movie and I would say, this never happened. This is alternate universe reality. This new one I want to do is the proper run, is the proper closure that is needed for the series. That's what I would do. I wouldn't keep that one the way it is. I would give us another option. I would give fans, viewers, another option to have as a proper closure to the series. That's what I would do. But to me, let it be a lesson. Let it be a lesson to Warner Brothers. Let it be a lesson to Disney. Let it be a lesson to Sony, to anybody out there that wants to do a movie finale that brings closure to a series which has either been gone only a few years or is getting ready to go off the air and needs a proper conclusion, or whatever the case may be. Let this be a lesson to all those studios when they want to do something like that, as well as when they want to do an adaptation of something like a comic book story, whatever. Let this be a lesson that if you're going to do something like what I just talked about here, then you have to do it right. You have to keep true to the original source material and not stray away, not throw out anything into the movie that would basically cause it to fall off a cliff. To me, if you're gonna do a movie, you're gonna utilize a feature-length movie or 1 hour special to give closure to a series, like I said, that has been off the air for a while but never got proper closure, then whether it's animated or live action, then I make sure that movie or that special stays true to the source materials. That's what I do. I don't screw around or anything. I make sure it stays true to the source material. Same thing if you're going to do an adaptation of a novel or a comic book story. If you're going to do it, make sure that in some shape, form, or fashion that 75% of it is mainly based and adapted directly and stays true directly to the original material that you're adapting it from. So I just thought I'd come on here, kind of talk about that, get that off my chest. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Comment if you like. I'd love to hear from each and every one of you. Let me know what your thoughts are during the premiere. Like the video, guys. Matter of fact, like a lot of the videos that you've seen so far and will be seeing as the days and the weeks go on. The more likes, the more views, if you will. And I will talk to y'all later. Till next time, God bless, take care, I am out.